So one of the biggest problems we're seeing online is that landlords are stopping at 3 units or 3 properties. So why are landlords stalling and slowing down in the Knoxville market with only 3 properties? Can it be the market conditions? Can it be expectations of the landlord, cash flow, appreciation, all the things that we landlords and property managers are after when it comes to real estate investing? So why do people even start investing in real estate? Obviously, you have the rent, so you have income. And when it comes to owning 3 or less properties, you can be in a position where you are having your hands pulled in every direction because you have tenants concerned, you have vacant units, and you don't have enough properties to have a full-time staff beside you in-house fixing your problems. So guess who's solving all of them? You. And when it comes to that, where you are in a swamp of issues and you're not where you want to be and you're not making the money you want to make as a landlord, and those people that made fun of you getting into real estate day one saying it's not going to be passive, it's not going to be passive, you're starting to think that they actually were right. Well, I'm here to say that as a property manager of over 220 units, they're wrong, you are right, it's okay, you are just in a swamp and you will get out of it. You may have had the property on market for 90 days with no tenant even wishing to move in, and the cash flow is just not there like you thought it would be. A lot of times you talk to realtors, you talk to lenders, and they all want to get you to own the property, but there's no one left when you're sitting there with the deed at the title office and you're thinking to yourself, holy crap, I gotta get going on this. No one's here to help me now because everyone got their commission check. All in all, people with 3 properties or less are always telling themselves, man, when I get to 5, when I get to 10, I can't wait to hire this person or finally get a property manager. But at the end of the day, if you're doing things that are unscalable now, you will be there forever. And it's gonna take you years to gain that knowledge unless you're in front of people that have that experience. So one of the big tips that I actually want to offer people is connecting with property managers that do manage over 50, over 100, maybe even myself, that's over 200 units, and learn about their systems and procedures, because I pretty much give away everything I do in-house away for free, because at the end of the day, everyone knows how to mow a lawn, and even if they learn how to mow a lawn, they might want other people to do it for them in the future. So I just see myself where if you ask me how I do something, it's a chance for me to show you how smart, hopefully I am, or I may learn something from your procedures, being a small landlord, because I see something I can scale for my 200 plus doors. So connect with people that have more properties and you will learn way faster. Why do people hit walls after owning 2 or 3 properties? Typically it happens because they don't have a strategic vision. There's not a clear goal in mind, and maybe their initial goal that got them started, which was, a generic statement like retirement or cash flow, doesn't get them excited anymore. And what does that say about mindset? It says that you need to have specific goals. If you're trying to create a retirement income from the cash flow of the property, we need to be working on getting those mortgages paid down as soon as possible, with hopefully rent increasing and all the expenses decreasing on the back end. And right now you may be thinking, not having a property manager allows you to save money. But when you call the MrHandyman.com guy to come by and you pay $500 plus for something we may have negotiated with our own landlord and handyman to be lower, you've actually spent the amount of money you could have had a PM, property manager do that work and not have you involved in the first place. So you would have saved money and time. And I have buddies that literally own 5 or 10 units at this time. They're like, oh, when I hit 20. And I remember when they had, 2 or 3 houses, and they said, well, when I hit 10, and the cash flow never is enough for them. And so they eventually keep managing. And then they start losing time, and they don't have any time to go find the deals themselves that they once did have when they had fewer rentals. So, put that with a job, a career that landlord has, because a lot of our landlords, they work 9 to 5s and they save their money and they eventually have enough to buy that next property. And they actually have a better mindset because they're very aware that it is a retirement plan. And so they're not trying to live on the cash flow today. They're trying to have it be passive today and eventually pay off in the future. And they are constricted with the amount of work they have at their career. They cannot service their tenant. So it forces them to do things that are scalable, like call a property manager. So oddly enough, the guys that are, all entrepreneurial focused, and the women that are, guys, girls, whatever, that are so focused on scaling, growing, and passive income and building a brand for themselves and all these, in things to do, are the ones that I see hold themselves back because they do self-manage. Where in their opinion, the people that are behind on the times that still have a career, which I think is amazing because it's obviously predictable income and they're making enough to be able to invest in real estate. So it must be a successful thing for them in their lives. Those people are actually doing more scalable things, ironically, because they call the PM, the property manager, before they even buy their first one, learn about where to go and what to do, and are sometimes even more open-minded than these entrepreneurial younger folk that like to scale, but then don't end up having enough time for all the things they do in life. So mindset's important. You have to know how to spend money to make money, which is a super cliche thing that I think a lot of people joke about. But the reality is if you're going to spend money on a property manager, you're going to get a lot more time back. I would say one of the best ways to scale past owning 3 pieces of real estate as an investor that's doing a buy and hold strategy and having tenants live in the units long term would be to start trying to find obviously better deals. And you are going to need to go and connect with property managers, wholesalers, and big real estate teams. So find the biggest realtors in town that are on Google and go sit down with them and talk about your strategy. They may or may not know how to run the numbers. So that's why I say get in touch with a property manager as well earlier in the process, so you know where you're looking and what price ranges you should be paying, because they see the most amount of transactions that convert into investment properties, where the realtor may just have the source of the property itself. You're trying to build an acquisitions channel that you don't have to employ. So you have to use all contractors. And those contractors would be people like myself that manage quite a bit of properties that may have a tired landlord eventually want to sell and move on. And you need to call all the property managers in town to get to know those people. And that would put you in touch, probably with over 2,000 to 3,000 rental properties after talking to 5 to 10 property managers. But more importantly, getting on those local Facebook groups and just putting out your goals and what you're trying to buy in the next 6 to 12 months, and having those wholesalers comment below so that way you can take them out to coffee. The amount of times that you have probably heard that real estate is a people industry is probably still not enough for it to get through your head. And it's true. I've made so many off-market deals happen back when I was wholesaling based on just knowing the right buyer at the right time and introducing them to the seller that needed a quick sale. So you just never know when that deal is going to hit, because the best valued deals are the ones where people are in unique situations, and those unique situations aren't planned more than 1% of the time. So all off-market great deals happen on accident unless you're spending money on marketing. So the more people you know in that field, the better you're going to be. As you grow the portfolio, whether you're a property manager like me that manages them, or you're the landlord that literally owns them, there's so many places where things get you stressed that it takes away the enjoyment or the joy of growing your portfolio in the first place. So if you're stuck at 3 units, it's a mindset shift. You need to move. You need to get introduced to more people that think like you. A lot of landlords are siloed away and they don't talk to other landlords. The flippers in the real estate world know every other flipper, and they get coffee and they don't treat each other like enemies. And I think landlords need to do the same thing more often. They'll learn more about what to expect. You can share your horror stories between each other, and just understand the expectations is the major factor that will make you feel ready to take on your 4th and 5th property. Otherwise, you don't know if you have an A, a B, or a C on the test unless you start learning how other people are playing the game and how other people handle the same problems you've probably ran into. See you next week on the next video. Thanks again. Peace.